This like spinning, twisting, and like speed up different. Hi! In this video we're checking out cool free VST plugins to create sound effects with. Let's start out with a little taste of what they can do. Valhalla Supermassive is a really great reverb plugin. It's totally free and great to use for all kind of reverb purposes. But in this video we will use it in a slightly different way. We will use it as a whoosh generator, and in order to make this work you will start out with some kind of impact sound like this. And then the settings in Supermassive looks like this. You set the mix to 100% wet, width start around 0, delay start around 132 milliseconds. We get back to warp in a second. Feedback, density, and the EQ you just leave as it is, and then you reduce the moderate and depth to 0 and choose the Sagittarius mode. And the key part to make this process to work is to modulate the warp parameter based on the volume envelope of the sound that you are processing. What this means is that we will make this parameter move up and down in the same way that the volume moves up and down here. So it will ramp up really fast and then go down slower. And in Reaper you can set this up in this window over here. And if you're in a different DAW, just find out how volume modulation works in that DAW. So if we listen to the sound now, we immediately hear that big whooshy sound, and we can see this warp parameter goes up and then goes slowly down again. And that makes the whoosh sound. And if we now play around with the delay settings, you hear that a shorter delay time equals a shorter whoosh, and longer ones equals a longer whoosh. So a really great way to create generic whoosh sounds that have this like noisy feeling to them. But you can take this a step further. As you see over here, I have stacked like 12 of these Supermassive on top of each other. And the only thing that I have changed in these is the delay setting. So you can see that I have this at 58 and I had the first one around 130, and all of them have slightly different amounts of delay, but everything else is the same. So if we enable these first three, so now we have 4 of them. You hear how we get this like artifacty, like prolonged whoosh sound. Enable 3 more. And we get these really cool sci-fi, almost pass-by sounds. 3 more. It's so cool. It's like warp time or something. You get these tonal glitchy sounds. We take the 2 last ones too. And when you start to stack this on top of each other, you get a louder sound. So I just have a safety limiter here in the end. It doesn't do anything else than just protect the sound from clipping, basically. But it's so cool, this plugin, what you can do with it. You can use it for the general just reverb purposes, or you can use it for create these generic whooshes, and you can create really short ones and long ones, and depending on what sound you're processing you get different results, of course. And then you can start to stack them on top of each other and you get into these like sci-fi whoosh sounds that you can create and you use in different ways. So really great plugin, and it's totally free, so just go ahead and download it and start to have fun with it. Before we check out the next plugin, I have prepared a little thing for you. If you want some more inspiration or guidance of how to process the ordinary sounds that you have around you into sound effects, I have linked a free guide for you down in the description below. This covers 7 different techniques that you can use to process the ordinary sounds that you have around you into cool sound effects. So check out that, it's linked in the description below, totally free. And now let's continue with the next plugin. Vocoders are probably most famous to be used by artists like Daft Punk, but you can also use them to create really cool sound effects with. So in this example I have prepared a couple of organic sources, because that's what you use the vocoder for. You can blend your organic sources together with synthetic sources for different soft synths and create really cool blends together. So in this example I have some white noise here. Me just blowing in a big glass bottle. And then a lion roar. So if we would start to process this into some kind of whooshes, we would probably start with some kind of volume envelope on the whoosh, on the white noise whoosh. And it creates this whoosh effect, but it still feels like white noise. A little bit of pitch envelope to the tonal bottle sound. And yeah, feels kind of lame, but it's something. And the line I just reversed, basically. So all of these sounds start to get a little bit of processing to it, but they don't have their own identity. It just feels like the same kind of sound still. And that's where the vocoder comes in. Because with a vocoder, you can blend the synthetic sound of a soft synth and some MIDI tones together with the character from the organic sound. And you can create this really like cool morphs of these two worlds into amazing sound effects. So I have it set up here. We have the vocoder here, and I have the same exact samples that I have over up there. I have here, and then I have one MIDI track down here with Vital. And the idea here is just to create as much movement as I can, as much character as I can, because this will react together with the organic sound that we had. So together, the more movement I can get out of Vital, the more like identity I will get out of the final sound. So I have an envelope that just follows the same timing as the envelopes that we have over here, and the same length as the organic sounds. And then I have LFOs just modulating different parameters to get as much movement as possible. And then I have some MIDI information here. It's just basically throw spaghetti on the wall, see what fits, try different stuff, and nothing is wrong, everything is right, basically. So let's take a listen to the first sound. This was some white noise without any processing. Just the envelope of the volume, and with the vocoder. And it has this like snaky sizzling sound, and then we have the movement, the rattling sound, and now it gets that own identity. It doesn't feel like it's just white noise. It doesn't feel like it's just a synthesis. It's just a sound that you just accept as it is. And it's so cool when you blend these two worlds. Let's take a listen to the bottle blowing one more time. That was without the vocoder, and with. You get this almost like lift up or like power up in some kind of sci-fi world. Once again, so much identity and character to the sound. Let's take a listen to the lion roar. That is kind of cool, actually, when it's just reversed. A really cool character. But with the vocoder, it's so beefy, so powerful. So I think the same is true for all three of these examples, that they get so much character and identity when you start to blend it together. Each of themselves is not super cool, but with this, you can easily create tons and tons of cool sound effects. And if you start to change the Vital patch, you get totally different results. You start using different presets and just blend them with your organic sources, and you create super cool results. With that said, it's a bit of a hassle to set it up, the vocoder, the Tal vocoder, but set it up once and save it as a template, and then you can reuse it. And depending on what DAW you're in, the setup of it is totally different. So just check out how it works in your DAW, set it up, and save it as a template, and start to use it when you create your sound effects and create really, really cool results with it. A frequency echo is a really great delay unit, great for all kind of delay dub stuff, but I actually don't use it in that way. I use it to create all kind of weird sound design textures and abstract things. And I will show you how I work with this. So what we will do is that we will start to have the plugin self-oscillate and create like feedback loops within it. And every time you do that, it's always a good idea to have a limiter in the end of the chain just to protect your hearing. So set up that, and then mix 100% wet, and then just open up the filters. And when I now increase the feedback, You can hear that high pitch resonant tone that creeps in, and that's the plugin that starts to self-oscillate. And you can see I don't play anything here, I don't have anything else going on, it's just this track that's soloed, it's just this plugin that does anything, and it's a limiter afterwards. So nothing else, it's just this. And you now, when I start to play around with the shift and the delay parameters, when I have some feedback engaged, you can hear what kind of cool textures you can create with this. So let's start with some feedback. So you can hear how many crazy textures you can create with this. You have this like spinning, twisting, and like speed up different. Yeah, it's so cool. You can create so many cool things with it. Whooshes, risers, downers, signature sound, different small kind of abstract things that you can put into your different ambiences. Really, really cool. So I want to show you in the next example here what you can do if you start to automate different parameters. So here I have the same thing. It's just this plugin, nothing else going on. And I have automated the delay and the shift parameter here, and it creates this effect. And you get this like spin up effect of it when you have the delay go up and the delay go down and the shift go up. And you can of course have them move it the other way around also, and you can have them move together. And as soon as you want the sound to stop, you just automate away the feedback and just reduce that to 0 and the sound stops. But you can actually take this a step further. What happens if you start to stack these frequency echoes on top of each other? So in this next example, I have a Vital here, but just ignore that for now. We will get back to it in a minute. And I have 6 of these frequency echoes after each other here, and I have automated the delay and the shift parameters in different ways. So if we have 3 of them engaged now, it sounds like this. And all of them start to affect each other and create really, really cool artifacts if we enable all of them. Really, really cool textures. And then we go back to this Vital. So now I said that you can do this without any synth, and that's what we have done so far. But you can, of course, use a synth to trigger all of this. So let's take Vital and just have 2 sine waves with a little bit of detuning and see what we can do with that. Really, really cool results. Let's add a little bit of noise. A little bit more. So you hear all of these plugins are totally free. Vital is free, Frequency Echo is free, and you just start to play around with it and start to automate different things, and you start to stack them on top of each other. You can create really, really crazy textures in a really fun and effective way. Alright, there we had 3 really cool VST plugins to create sound effects with. If you want to see one more sound design video, I can highly suggest this one, where I record sound around me in my house with my iPhone and then use those recordings to recreate sounds from Baldur's Gate 3. Alright, take care of each other out there, and I see you in the next one.